wanting to say something about Adam the Woo, and I don't ever really show my face on here that much, so that's something I don't do that often. But I am sad, and I never met him. I just watched his videos, and I have watched videos for a long time. I remember when YouTube started and it was broadcast yourself, which is exactly what Adam did. And I started watching, I feel like it was 2012 maybe, that I would watch Graveyard Girl and Adam the Woo. I don't know, it was sometime back a long time ago. And throughout the years, if I come on YouTube, usually I will check and see what Graveyard Girl is up to and what Adam the Woo was up to. And I always thought, whenever I'd go to Disney World through the years, how cool it would be if I ran into him and I could maybe ask for a selfie or something. I always and I would find that later I would find out maybe I was in a different park than whatever he had been in that day, but I'd been there at the same time. And sometimes I'd find out when I would get home that now he was there, and it never worked out where I got to meet him and get a selfie. And now I know I never will. It's weird to be it's kind of weird, or it feels like it ought to be weird to be so sad about someone that you never met and you didn't personally know. But I don't think so. Not when you could see them daily. They would, when he let you into his life daily, and even would interact with his audience. You could comment and sometimes he would reply, and that just, I and some of my family, we use some of his Adamisms, and we will often say we're going to get a piping hot caffeinated beverage, and I know that we're not alone. I know so many of you do that. And just there's so many things. There's rearing its head, which is not something Adam made up or anything, but he, I do associate it with him. And Heavy Metal Mickey, and There Goes the Monorail. I'm not going to try to do the voice. I would cry. And Space Mountain, and there's other things. I think someone the other day said cavalcade, and I was just like, oh, that means, and you see them daily, and you could talk, you could actually, talk to them. You could leave a comment and get a reply sometimes. It was just that makes it very personal. And he was there for so many years. It's just not right for him to not be there anymore. I haven't watched anybody's videos other than I did watch Daphne's, and that was just heartbreaking. And she broke my heart with just her. She had, was going through mementos from some of their adventures, and it was just so sad. And so my heart goes out to everyone who knew him and to his parents. And just, in my prayers. And speaking of prayers, one thing I feel certain about is that Adam the Woo was saved. I believe Adam the Woo is in heaven. And I I think that my pastor says that when you are in heaven, when you die, you're then face to face with the Lord and you're in eternity. You're no longer in time. And so it's different. It's different to be in eternity and have no time, not be in time, and time just isn't a thing there. And so the people who go on to heaven don't even miss us because they're in eternity. And so by the time you get there, by the time you leave time and get there, it's like they didn't even miss you. Like you know, I don't really know how to explain it that well, but the point is that he's not missing anyone. He's the happiest he's probably ever been. I mean, not probably. He's in heaven. There's no more sorrow, no more tears, nothing like that. And so he is happy and he's with the Lord, and other people he probably wanted to see that he's lost. And so that's where he is. And I, just to use another Adamism, I think if he did see everyone here grieving, I think he would be touched and possibly overwhelmed by it, because it really has been something to see. And I think that he would say to everyone who's sad, he would just tell you what he would say, when things are not going necessarily well or according to plan. He would just tell you that it's all part of the experience. You're born, you live, and then you go into eternity. And that's where he is. And that's true. It's everything. It's all part of the experience. And so I guess the two things I wanted to say is that if you're not saved and you want to talk to me about it, you can. I usually always think I'm not the person to talk to about it. But if you're watching this, and I mean, I guess I could be. But I always believe that if you want to be saved and you want to know about the Lord and how to be saved, God provides the right person to give you the message. So if that happens to be me, then I'm willing to do my best. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I think another reason that I'm so emotional about this, out of, just that adds to being emotional and sad, is that I lost my dad pretty much, in similarly, I can't talk, similar, I'm going to try to cut and clip that. I think the other reason that I think that what adds to my emotion is that it was sort of, the loss of my father was similar in that he passed away in his sleep, and I was getting hay for the goats, and I was going to take it to the barn, and then I was going to go by his house and see him. And after I was leaving the feed store, which feed store makes me think of Adam, as I was leaving the feed store, I got a call from my uncle, who was his brother, but also one of his best friends. And my uncle told me that he'd found him and that he'd passed away, and he had passed away in his sleep. And so this brings all of that back. So on top of being sad about losing, never going to get another join me, him telling you what he thinks his day will be, or what the adventure's going to be, or what he's going to be doing, and inviting you to join him. Shall you? We're not going to get that again. And so on top of the loss on top of this loss, I'm just kind of reliving that whole experience of, my dad died in his sleep. And we know that my dad died of a heart attack. I think as of yet, we don't know what happened to Adam, but it just makes me want to say to you, if you are 50-ish, older than that, and doing a lot of traveling, because I've seen people say, like, maybe it was a blood clot, and that's not, that's not, way out of left field or anything. That's like a possibility that the traveling, all of that air travel, could have been a factor. And I just think you should, if you're going to be doing that kind of thing, maybe you should go to the doctor and see if there's any kind of issues that you're having, that it could be worsened by that kind of travel, and that kind of, just that so much travel at once like that. I don't know if taking a baby aspirin or something, or regular aspirin while you're doing, I don't know. I don't know, but I think that this is a lesson to us all, that maybe before you start doing all of that flying and traveling like that, maybe you should go see if you have any underlying conditions or anything that might cause a problem. I hope that was the other thing I wanted to mention. I really hope that that's something people will do. I mean, maybe this with Adam, and maybe it was not related to that at all. And if it wasn't, I think it's still a good idea to talk to your doctor about how to prevent blood clots and what to do on flights for any issues that you have. When I fly, it messes up my ears, my inner ear. I'll get like, I'll have a lot of dizziness after I fly sometimes. And so that's an issue that I have. It's just something to think about. And all of you are in my prayers. And eventually you get on the other side of grief, not where it's over, but it's always there. But you learn how to handle it, or you get to where there's more. Like with my dad, there are way more times that I think about things that he said or did, and it's with a smile or a laugh, without the heavy burden of grief that was there for like the first year or so. You get to where you handle it better. So that's what I want to say to everyone grieving Adam. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I guess that's it.